We often hear, pay attention to your sun, but don't ignore your rising and make sure you know your moon. And so help us all understand in very basic language, why are those three aspects of our chart emphasized often as the most important points? And then with your chart, how those two signs other than your Virgo have definitely told you your own story.
So a map of the hour, and the primary element of the horoscope is light and dark. And I was thinking this again today. The sun is 4.5 billion tons of hydrogen and helium exploding per second. And that idea of this enormous, enormous force that creates stability in the system and is the heart of our system, and is not only does it create orbital stability in the system, but on our planet it brings heat and light, and we could say that it brings consciousness. So it's important to know where the sun is, because it's when you step into the system, you are in a relationship with the burning heart of yourself and of the system and your relationship to it. The moon doesn't burn. And except for the Mesopotamians, most great mythologies and astrologies say about the moon, she carries light. So the moon in the horoscope will tell an astrologer something about your relationship to what carries you. And of course, interpretively, that's motherness. So on a really, really simple level, the sun and the moon are the great father and the great mother. They're the great lights. And light is energy. It doesn't just move energy. Light is energy. It's yang energy. Pure, undifferentiated, potent creativity. And the dark is the form that gives the light somewhere to go. You need to know what your rising sign is, because it's where the earth is turning towards. What's rising in your world at the moment that you step in and draw your first breath? What are you looking at? So one of my favorite ways to talk about the great lights and the rising sign as primary qualities comes from a very early Hellenistic tradition of astrology. So the Greeks inherited a very sophisticated conceptual framework, not only from the Mesopotamians, which is Iraq and modern-day Iraq and Iran, but astrology had traveled out of the Middle East to India, and it had traveled north, all along northern Africa, and the Arab culture had made huge contributions to it. So that by the time Alexander the Great conquered the Mediterranean and the Hellenistic world began to develop, there was a very sophisticated but Grecified point of view about not only astrology, but about the horoscope. And so one of the ways that the Greeks talked about the horoscope and those three elements of the horoscope is, this is the ship that you got to sail on the Sea of Life. They were sailors. And why get a ship? Why would you incarnate? Why sail? And so the sun in the horoscope is the purpose. Why sail this ship? Sun in Aries, sun in Cancer, sun in rising, sun setting, sun at the midheaven. Why get a ship? What's the purpose of it? The moon is, how do you put provisions in the hold? How do you pay for the journey? How do you carry it? And the rising sign, the ascendant, was considered to be the helm of the ship. How do you steer, and what direction do you steer so that you can achieve your purpose and you can put provisions in the hold and afford to sail farther?